Okay, so today we're going to make focaccia. Now this is a 2-day kind of project. The first day is basically just making the dough, and then we're going to refrigerate it overnight until the following day, and then we're going to take it out.
Is that why it's 2 days?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's actually only like 24 hours, but it's over like 2 days. Because you like sleep in between. Anyway, and that's called like a cold fermentation, if you want to get technical. There's like a whole lot of reasons like we do that, and I can go into the science and stuff a little bit more when we start playing with the dough the next time we do this. So I'll get into just mixing the dough. So it's pretty typical type of mixing. If you don't have a mixer, you can basically just start with a large bowl. You can also put it directly onto a work surface. Actually, I'll kind of show you that.
Harmony, your bowl isn't there.
So you can also take your entire amount of flour and then build like a volcano type thing.
Ooh. I like the chocolate volcanoes better than that,
But
though.
you got to be really careful when you do this, because you don't want to let the water out, because it will go everywhere. So you want to be really, really careful if you do this. So I'm starting with about 8.5 cups of flour, and if you follow the recipe, then I have 3.5 cups. If I get this correct, 3.5 cups of water. 2 teaspoons of yeast, and 2 tablespoons of salt. So I'm going to take my dry ingredients and mix them in a little bit with the flour, and then I'm going to go to my water, kind of make a little pool in the center, and then continue to mix that, and then we'll start kneading, and then put the dough away. So take my yeast. So it's 1 teaspoon. I'll just kind of put that around with some of the dry products. And I'll take the 2nd teaspoon and go around again. Just so it's kind of mixed in there with the flour. Okay, and I'll do the same thing with the, lost my grip there a little bit. Take the same thing with the salt.
How much is that?
So that's 1 tablespoon. And you're just going to go around the edge. Okay. Then take your 2nd tablespoon. Go around the edge again. And then just kind of mix that into your flour. Okay. So then you're going to kind of build up your mountain again. Okay, now we're going to rebuild our volcano. So kind of push up your sides. All right. Dig out the middle. All right. So then we're going to go first cup of water. Stop. Now go ahead and just pour that whole first cup directly into the center. This is where it gets kind of fun. So you're going to make like a claw. And you kind of put it down in the center of the water. And you just go around in circles. And you start kind of bringing in the flour from the walls. And start mixing it together. And eventually you'll kind of get like a paste. You'll feel it get kind of drier and a little bit drier. And you kind of move in the walls a little bit. Okay. And once you get kind of like a little bit of a soupiness and a lot of that water is absorbed, go ahead and pour your second cup. Now it's a little bit difficult to do this by yourself, so if you have a helper, have them pour out your ingredients. Or if you can put 3.5 cups in one like pitcher, you can always kind of pour and mix at the same time. But you can go ahead and put that second cup in. Just be careful you don't kind of overflow it.
Like that?
Yeah.
You don't want to do that, kids.
So you'll make a little bit of a mess. But you're going to want to bring some of that outside flour in. So yeah, and you make a mess. But so I'm just going to kind of rebuild the center of it a little bit. So we can kind of work that, all that water in. Dogs are loving it.
Her head has flour all over it.
So, yeah.
Oh no! What did Daddy do to you? He decorated me. I'm a gingerbread dog. She's like waiting for the next morsel.
Yeah.
More flour.
Alright. This is the third cup of water. So I'm going to mix this in just a little bit slower. So I'm just going to start pouring a little bit and just kind of mixing a little bit.
Unlike the last time?
Yeah.
Where it went outside?
A little bit.
Oh, okay. Doesn't this look like a messy, fun time?
Now you can bypass all this fun just by using a standard mixer.
Why would you want to do that, though?
Well, I don't know. It does save a little bit of time.
Oh. Yeah.
But yeah.
This is the fun thing.
Speed it up a little bit. All right.
Should you have taken off your ring first?
I mean, they allow you by like official standards to wear a wedding band. But yeah, you can. It's also a good safety thing, especially if you're ever working with equipment or mixers or rolling tables or anything like that, to make sure you remove any jewelry. Yeah, it is kind of an important thing to do. But I'm doing this at home and kind of
So if we eat the ring, it's okay.
Yeah. That's a little alright.
We're not going to pull a Monica off Friends and wonder where the nails are in the lasagna.
No.
Okay.
So much. Alright. Now I need to get a little bit more water. I'm going to go off camera here for a second.
Yes, because I don't want anybody to see how messy our sink is right now. Look at that. Do you nummies? Is it nummies? Yeah? Back on camera.
Just another half cup. We're going to kind of work into that last bit of flour.
Do you need me to help?
Nope.
Okay.
Yep. I'm going to start kind of working everything in.
Oh, and kids, just so you know, you got a 25-pound bag, so we have plenty of summer fun waiting to teach you lots of baking techniques.
Yeah, absolutely. So, basically just try to work in the flour. You need to add a little bit more water to kind of get everything incorporated. Feel free. This is a pretty relaxed type of dough. It's not real strict as far as hydration goes, so you can make this a pretty wet batch. This right here is relatively dry by bread standards. I can't remember what the exact hydration is, but I think it's like 70 or 75%. So I'm just going to add a little bit more water.
Don't show them the sink. Don't show them the sink.
So I've got about another half a cup.
So that's another full cup that you've added, correct?
So this brings me to about 4 cups.
Okay.
In total. I did lose a little bit onto the floor earlier. So
yes, you did. You lost quite a bit onto the floor earlier. Missy says it's delicious.
But just kind of use your best judgment.
Okay. Use your best judgment. That was the last thing he said, folks, just so you can know, and you know you're on the right video.
Alright, so keep working it down. Probably actually going to use the whole rest of this.
So is sound to the dough important when you're making dough?
It is if you're making, like, if you're working for a company, you'll actually start kind of listening to different things. Everything will kind of rhythmically come together once you do it, a couple, tens of thousands of times. So, like, I remember when I was rolling out baguette, which is like a long bread. It has a bunch of little slashes in it. And when I would roll it out, you get like this almost the exact same kind of feel and sound of kind of like the snapping and the crackling of the dough. I don't know, so it's kind of interesting. So you kind of know if you're on the right track by what it sounds like.
Wow, I wasn't totally serious. I was just joking around. But there you go, folks. Yeah. I just was thinking it was making kind of squishy sounds, and it was fun. John took it to a whole nother level. Woo! Look at that. It looks like dough.
It's coming together.
What's this called again?
This is actually just a roll dough. It's a French, like the proportions are a French formula originally. And it's pretty just...
Can you slow down and show us that? What's your technique, please?
Basically what I'm doing is kind of stretching it out, pulling it kind of into a ball, kind of back and forth. And what I'm basically doing is just working it into a mass, and then I'm going to develop it. I've been kneading it pretty well for a little while, but the gluten strands are still very weak.
Can you show?
So as you kind of pull, see how it kind of breaks apart? That means that the gluten is not developed enough. And gluten is basically it's like the fibrous part that kind of holds everything together. So they're proteins in the flour that when they're hydrated create these bonds that are very similar to like your muscle fibers. And they kind of hold everything together. They're kind of like the webbing or the structure of the dough. And they kind of hold it all together. And as the yeast, which is the live part of the bread,
it's alive!
Eats the sugars or the carbohydrates from the flour, they produce byproducts of carbon dioxide and alcohol. So that's where you get that bread kind of smell. And the carbon dioxide was what makes the bread actually get bigger and rise.
Sorry, I fell asleep. Sorry.
Okay, so back to developing the gluten. So basically,
didn't we do this last time when we had the cinnamon rolls?
Yeah, same type of deal. So just kind of smushing it out, working it.
Showing it who's boss?
Yeah. What I'm basically just doing is physically elongating those strands. So you're just pushing it and working it, and that's developing the dough. So I would say once you get it to this point, work it for like 3 or 4 minutes, and then put it to rest. I'm going to skip ahead in the video. After I've done that, and you'll see it'll be a little bit more smooth and kind of elastic.
Elastic.
So, see you in a second. Okay. Alright, see, that was quick. So, now it's a little bit smoother. We've worked it. It stretches much better. It's not going to tear as easily.
Ah.
So, I'm going to put it away. We don't let this do any, rising at room temperature. We basically just make it, develop the gluten, so it's been kneaded properly. And then we're going to put it away. So, you want to put it into a container. A bowl like this is fine. Even like a square kind of Tupperware. Just make sure that it's, at least twice the size of this would be nice. Because it will get a little bit bigger.
You mean the Tupperware or the bowl twice that size, not the dough?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you just want to make sure that you put it in something that's going to be a little bit bigger than this.
Yeah, if you make the dough 2 times the size of that, you're going to be able to feed the 1st battalion.
Yeah, that'd be too much. So, I'm basically just taking a little bit of canola oil. Basically like half a cap. And just kind of putting it in here. This will kind of help protect it while it's in the refrigerator, because it tends to dry out. So if you just put a little bit of canola oil on it and in the container, it'll be in better shape. So then take some saran wrap or like a wet towel, not too wet, but wet the towel and then wring it out, lay it over top, then kind of change that periodically.
Throughout the night?
No, if you got up in the morning, the day of, and you go in there and the towel is really, really dry, just take it off, wet the towel, wring it out, put it back on top. So we're going to let it rest for about 24 hours. You can still work the dough up to 48 hours later, but after that, it kind of starts to degrade. We'll talk about that more later. But, all right, well, I'm excited to see you next time.